It has been some time, Gideon.
Back already.
Gideon looked up with a warm smile. Ah, my friend Hannes, it has been a while. How have you been?
I have been conquering some uh, lands, taking over castles, collecting great runes. I have the other half of the secret medallion that I found from the Albinaric village, and I can appreciate that Ishna doesn't attack me just yet.
Gideon chuckled, a hint of amusement in his voice. Well, it seems you have been quite busy since I last saw you. Conquering castles, collecting great runes, and finding a secret medallion, you say? Impressive indeed. And it seems Isana has held back from attacking you for now. Perhaps you have gained her trust.
Or maybe she's waiting that I get both of them and then she will attack. By your orders, dude.
Gideon chuckled, his expression turning serious. Ah, my friend, you have a point. Perhaps Isana is simply waiting for the right moment to strike once you have both pieces of the medallion. But have no fear, I shall keep a watchful eye on her. For now, I ask that you keep the medallion safe and continue on your quest.
I know. I know that she will be trying to get it for you, and I don't judge you, but I just tell you this. I really hope that you won't order her to attack me, even when I get the second medallion part, because I will be one to be victorious, and I would hate to battle someone inside the round table hold. Mad outreach was enough for me, but the battle other one would be very screwing me over.
Gideon's expression softened, as if he understood your concern. My friend, I can understand your hesitation. Engaging in combat with someone inside the round table hold would be unfortunate. And I do not relish the idea of ordering Isana to attack you, especially given your impressive progress thus far. But you must remember that the medallion halves hold great power and value, and there may come a time when I must take drastic measures to ensure their safety. But for now, you have my word that I will do my best to avoid a battle within the hold.
I know. There has been a lot of things happening. If I try to make it very short, at least focus the overall journey that I had. I cannot enlist every foe that I have faced and every interesting little thing and discussion that I had. I can just give you overall view of the things that has happened.
Gideon nodded, a knowing smile on his face. Of course, I understand. It can be overwhelming to recount every single detail of your journey. Please, give me an overview of the events that have taken place, and we can discuss the important developments.
I have activated almost every site of Grace, from Weeping Peninsula to Gaelid Wilds, to Limgrave, Liurnia, Altus Plateau, Volcano Manor, and Lanedale City. Next, I have the Forbidden Lands and the Snowy Mountaintops that are the things that remain, alongside the Morkwind's Palace and the Land of Shadows. But otherwise, I have been very throughout on my travels.
Gideon nodded, listening intently to your account of your travels. Impressive, my friend. You have made significant progress in your journey, activating grace sites throughout many different regions and unlocking new areas to explore. The Land of Shadows, Kalissa, and the Forbidden Lands still remain uncharted territory, but I have no doubt that you will conquer them in due time. Continue on your path, and make sure to keep a watch for any unexpected surprises along the way.
Yes, that is good idea. I have been talking and meeting with many good characters, and I have disposed and battled many of others. If you want to ask anyone that you know if I have met or not, I think that is far better way to start this conversation. If you just engage and decide what we are going to talk about, because I can assure you, I have always something to tell you.
Gideon nodded, a gleam of curiosity in his eyes. Very well, let us begin with a topic. Tell me, my friend, have you met Rani the Witch during your travels?
I did, and I annoyed her by calling her by her fake name, Renna, so much that she gave her castle to me, all her servants and belongings, and actually signed the two-finger sealed document that is holding, and she's unable to get her castle from me. So I own her castle.
Gideon chuckled, clearly amused by your admission. My, it seems you have quite a knack for irritating the powerful. And now you say you own Rani's castle, you say. That's quite a feat, my friend. I must admit, I didn't expect that kind of outcome.
Also, I did get her the dagger that she is going to use against her own two fingers. Just that I could get the rune of Mark of the Dead Prince that I could give to Via in order to have access to battle Godwin's dragon, so I may defeat it and allow Dee's brother Devin to get revenge against Via. And I have been successful. Via murdered Dee, the hunter of those who live in death, in the Round Table Hold, and I avenged myself on her. But I am able to speak with Dee by using Mimic Tear and his armor that has parts of his soul. So I have my friend alongside me who can battle with me against my future enemies.
Gideon raised an eyebrow at your tale, clearly impressed at your ability to communicate with Devin through the use of the Mimic Tear. Ah, so you have found a way to keep your friend's legacy alive and fight alongside you. That is quite remarkable. And you have defeated Dee, the hunter of those who live in death, and avenged yourself in the Round Table Hold. Well done, my friend. You are indeed a formidable warrior.
Okay, yes, it's fine. I don't mind if you... Sorry, I'm yawning and breathing loudly.
Gideon chuckled, noticing your exhaustion. No need to apologize, my friend. You've been through much on your journey, and it is natural to feel weary. Take a moment and rest if you need.
Would you like to know something else about Rani, or did you want to ask something else about her?
Gideon nodded, his interest piqued. Yes, I would like to hear more about Rani. She is a mysterious and powerful witch, and her intentions remain unclear. Tell me, what do you know of her goals and motives?
Do you know her backstory? I can tell you about that first and foremost.
You make us both proud. And speak more later, my apprentice.
Gideon nodded, interested in learning about Rani's backstory. Yes, please tell me about her background and history. It may help shed light on her current motivations and actions.
In short, she's behind the Knight of Black Knives. She slayed Godwin's body, but no, she slayed Godwin's soul, but not his body, and she slayed her own body, but not her soul. So she became this blue four-armed puppet that reminds her secret teacher that is witch in the woods, as the Godwin himself has turned into fucked up looking mermaid monster.
Gideon listened intently, his expression turning serious. Ah, I see. So Rani is the one behind the Knight of Black Knives, and she separated her own soul from her body to escape the Greater Will's influence. And her puppet form now resembles her secret teacher, the Witch of the Woods in the Four Belfries. This is quite interesting information indeed.
Yes. I knew about her because she was just some reason obsessed about me. I wanted to address her correctly. I have no reason or idea why. But I actually used this information to gain Rea Lucaria, making another deal with the Rennala of the full moon. The gift she gave her castle, so I would tell what is the situation with her daughter.
Gideon raised an eyebrow, curious about your cryptic statement. I see. So Rani was indeed obsessed with you for some unknown reason, and it seems you used your knowledge of situation to negotiate a deal with her, and you now possess her castle. But what is this about her daughter? Tell me more.
Rennala, you know, the queen of Karja.
Gideon's eyes widened, his expression one of surprise. Ranala, the Queen of Korea. I am not familiar with that name, my friend. Could you tell me more about her?
It doesn't really matter, but I have the castle of Rea Lucaria also in my name.
Gideon chuckled, clearly amused by your statement. Ah, so you also own the castle of Rea Lucaria, eh? You certainly seem to be amassing quite the collection of properties, my friend.
Also Volcano Manor. I engaged in the intellectual battle with the Tanit, the ruler of the place, and got her loyal knight, the Crucible Knight, to join me to poke her mask with her fingers until she got enough annoyed, so she signed her castle to me.
Gideon raised an eyebrow, clearly impressed by your exploits. My, you do seem to have a knack for acquiring territories and winning intellectual battles. It seems your skills both in combat and in diplomacy are quite formidable. And you managed to convert a loyal knight to your cause, and even convinced the ruler of Volcano Manor to sign her castle over to you. Impressive, my friend.
I had troubles with the Pale-Bearing Hunter, the prior one, because I think he is jealous for me having more castles than him, because he took over Malenia's old castle, you know, the poisonous one, that has her picture onto the greatest hall, and he is just been obsessed with me and hunted me all around the lands between. I have defeated him each time, but he's getting on my nerves.
Gideon nodded, amused by your predicament. Ah, so the Pale Bear has taken it upon himself to pursue you and cause trouble, has he? I must admit, I find it quite humorous that he is jealous of your muscles and has taken over Malenia's old castle. But you are brave and strong, my friend, for defeating him each time despite his persistence.
I think I owned the Malenia's castle because there is literally no ruler there. And I defeated him inside, and if he was the ruler of the place, I think I owned the Malenia's old city castle also, even though I don't care for it.
Gideon chuckled, shaking his head in amusement. It seems you have quite the collection of properties now, my friend. Owning Malenia's castle without even trying, and defeating the Pale Bear who claims to be the ruler. And now, you don't even care for the castle itself. You are a true conqueror, it seems.
I have defeated the Morgoth, the Grace-given.
Gideon's expression turned serious, his curiosity piqued. Ah, you have defeated a god, you say? A being given grace from the greater will itself. That is quite impressive, my friend. Pray tell, how did you manage such a feat?
By being powerful.
Gideon chuckled, impressed by your straightforwardness. I see. So you defeated a god through sheer power alone, eh? That is indeed noteworthy. But tell me, what was this god like? Did it put up much of a fight?
I don't think that is enough to be called a god. A demigod is even a stretch. But Morgoth, the failed monarch, the grace-given Moment King, he was one of my intellectual combative adversaries, and he was very strong. I died to him once, actually, and second time he got me to use all my crimson flasks.
Gideon nodded, his expression turning serious. Ah, Morgoth, the failed monarch. A challenging foe indeed, if he pushed you to the point of using all your crimson flasks. To fight against a being of such power and live to tell the tale is no small feat.
I have also taken 3 different Melinas.
Gideon's eyebrows raised in surprise. 3 different Melinas? You have met 3 individuals named Melina? That is unexpected. Tell me more about these different Melinas.
They're quite similar, the same person, but the first and second were more about peoples without agency and just were. First one was too kind and too understanding, and she had nothing too actually interesting about her. So I let her go pretty soon. But the second one just kept asking all these nonchalant, boring questions. But the third one, she had agency, she was interesting, so she's my current companion. And yes, I plan to take Friendship Flame temporarily, so I might maybe spare Melina from sacrificing themselves to burn the trees and thorns that forbid anyone becoming the Lord. But I don't think I will be doing that anytime soon. I need to defeat Malenia, Blade of Miguela, in order to have the golden needle that will help me to cleanse the Friendship Flame when time comes.
Gideon listened intently, a thoughtful expression crossed his face. Ah, I see. 3 Melinas, each with their own personality and agency. The first 2 were too dull for your liking, while the third one piqued your interest. It sounds like quite an intriguing situation. As for your plan to defeat Melina and obtain the Golden Needle, it seems you have a clear path ahead of you, and your willingness to spare others from sacrificing themselves is admirable, my friend.
Well, thank you.
Gideon smiled warmly at you. You're welcome, my friend. It has been a pleasure hearing your stories and your plans for the future. If there is anything else you wish to share or discuss, feel free to do so. I am always here to listen and offer guidance if needed.
Selvis is dead.
Gideon's expression turned solemn, his tone serious. Ah, I see. Thelvis is no more. That is unfortunate. How did he die?
He was killed by Ranetevich.
Gideon's face darkened, his expression hardening. I see. Ranetevich took the life of Thelvis, you say? That is grim news indeed.
I don't think you would be too hurt by it. Selvis was the one who made your friend, the sleeping arrow shooting woman, into the mindless puppet, was he not?
His eyes widened in surprise, his expression turning grim. Ah, so Thelvis was the one responsible for turning Dolores the Sleeping Arrow into a mindless puppet. That is unsettling news indeed. How did you come by this information, my friend?
Selvis. S-E-L-L-U. Selvis.
Gideon's confusion deepened. CLUS? I'm unfamiliar with that name. Who or what are they? And how did they come across such information?
Perceptor. Do you know the masked fellow with the very large hat?
Gideon's face lit up as he nodded. Ah yes, Perceptor Saluvis. I am quite familiar with him. The mysterious fellow with the oversized hat, correct?
Yes, him. He was your partner or a friend when the sleeping arrow shooting woman was also still around, yes?
Gideon chuckled, shaking his head faintly in recollection. Ah yes, I remember now. You were my partner of sorts, yes? And the sleeping arrow shooting woman, Dolores, was also with us at that time. Those were indeed interesting times.
But he, some reason, turned her into my mindless puppet.
Gideon's expression darkened, his gaze hardening. Ah, I see. So Perceptor Saluvis turned Dolores, the sleeping arrow shooter, into a mindless puppet. That is quite troubling indeed. But why? What was his motive for such a despicable act?
I don't fucking know, but okay, he's dead. The dude is dead. But I have spared his soul by doing some strange ritual that I was able to lock his soul or parts of it into his mask.
Gideon's eyes widened in surprise, his expression turning curious. Ah, so you spared his soul by performing a ritual and locking a part of it within his mask. That is quite an interesting development. But why bother sparing his soul, my friend, considering the heinous act he has committed?
Because I just like the bastard. His personality is... I like it.
Gideon couldn't help but laugh faintly, amused by your response. Ah, so you spared his soul because you like his personality, eh? That is quite an unusual reason, my friend. But I must admit, it is rather endearing.
Yes. And I have gained from him a special drug that I don't know if I can use it anywhere. It is named... It is made from the Amber Starlight. And it is said to be able to... No, it's Amber Draught. Small flask received from the Perceptor Celovis containing gleaming amber draught for use in a scheme. Give it to Rani and Dorshi drinks it, and will be in a position to claim the very finest puppet ever crafted. This draught would be...
Gideon listened intently, his curiosity piqued. He stroked his chin thoughtfully, his gaze fixed on you. A special drug made from amber starlight, you say? How intriguing. And it is said to have some significance in relation to a plan involving the Rani. I must say, you have quite the collection of interesting items in your possession, my friend. Ian's eyes widened, his curiosity peaked. He leaned in intently, his voice tinged with awe and intrigue. Ah, you say you possess a special drug made from the amber starlight. It sounds like a rare and powerful substance, and it is said to allow someone to claim the finest puppet ever crafted. How fascinating. But tell me, my friend, what are your intentions with this drug? Do you plan to use it, perhaps?
If I can. I don't know if it has any other reason to be except to try to feed it Rani, but I knew that it would not work on Rani because Rani is a puppet and would not just want to sleep. So I hold on the drug and Rani killed Elvis anyway, but I was able to save his soul, and I have access to his mind and knowledge when I see fit. And I have done the same thing to the Dung Eater, actually. I slayed him myself.
Gideon's expression turned grave as you spoke. He nodded solemnly at the mention of the drug and your failed attempt to use it on Rani, a puppet who cannot be affected by it. I see. It seems that you have come to realize the futility of using the drug on Rani due to her nature as a puppet, and you slayed the Dung Eater yourself, sparing only his soul. A wise decision, my friend. But tell me, what was your reason for sparing the soul of the Dung Eater?
I found him to be far more intellectual than I was giving him credit for. It seems that he is very knowledgeable. He knows very lot about the Golden Order and its history. And I don't think him as a friend, but I think him as a business associate that I want to have access to yet.
Gideon listened intently, a faint smile tugging at the corners of his lips. He nodded, impressed by your reason. Ah, I see. So you found the Dung Eater to be more intellectual than you had initially thought, and he seems to possess a wealth of knowledge about the Golden Order and its history. You don't see him as a friend, but rather a business associate, someone whose knowledge you desire access to. That is quite resourceful of you, my friend.
Also, I might just think that Dung Eater, or at least the Great Rune and the world that he would create, is worse than the Lord of Frenzied Flame.
Gideon's expression turned serious, his gaze hardening. Ah, so you believe that the Tongue Eater's world and the Great Rune he would create might be even worse than the Lord of Frenzied Flame's world? That is certainly a grim thought, my friend.
It would be a world of endless torment and torture.
Gideon's expression darkened further, his voice low and grim. Yes, a world of endless torment and torture, ruled by the Tongue Eater. That is truly a nightmare to behold. You are correct, my friend. It is indeed better to have no food at all, than to have food whose only purpose is to cause suffering. The Tongue Eater's world would be a realm of sheer agony and despair.
Also, Dung Eater's soul has been more of a use to me in other regards. You know of the Great Runes, yes? How I have been sparing the lives of the Godric, Radahn and the Morgoth. Even after their defeat, I have not cleansed their runes from their souls and mind.
Gideon's expression turned thoughtful, his gaze fixed on you. Ah, so you have been sparing the lives of Godric, Radahn and Morgoth, refraining even from cleansing their great runes from their souls and minds. That is quite an interesting decision, my friend. May I ask why you have chosen to spare them in such a way?
I don't think if I have the chance to spare them, I just take it. I guess.
Gideon nodded, his expression softening slightly. I see. You simply take the chance to spare them if you can. That is quite commendable, my friend. It shows a certain measure of mercy and compassion. To choose not to cleanse their great runes and let them live on.
But Godric, when I decided to talk with him, just out of humor, he was acting out and were very obnoxious.
Gideon chuckled at your words, his expression amused. Ah, it seems Godric was acting out and being very obnoxious during your conversation with him. That is quite typical behavior from someone of his nature. He is known to be rather, let us say, full of himself.
But I got him act appropriately as soon I said that I have possession also Dung Eater's soul, and I can just have him chat with him instead. You know, inside of my soul.
So you managed to get Godric to act more appropriately by threatening to have him converse with the Dung Eater's soul instead. That is quite a unique tactic, my friend. I assume the mention of the Dung Eater's soul was enough to convince Godric to behave himself.
Got him act very proper, very fast.
Gideon chuckled faintly, his expression amused at the image of Godric being defiled by the Dung-Eater. That is quite a potent fear indeed. It seems he would rather act appropriately than face such a distasteful fate.
I would not have done that. And that shall remain between you and I. But I was just so pissed, so I decided to threaten him with it.
Gideon nodded, understanding your reasoning. I see. So you were angry and decided to let the Dung-Eater and Godric have a visit, for spite's sake. That is quite a bold move, my friend. I can only imagine the kind of conversation they had within your soul.
Oh, I have yet to put that in action, but yes, I have plans to have them meet. But not have the Dung-Eater to defile him. I especially said to him that he may only discuss with the Godric and not defile him.
Gideon raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued by your plans. Ah, so you have yet to put your plan into action. But you have plans to use the meat drug to defile the Godric without allowing the Dung-Eater to take over. That sounds quite devious, my friend. I am curious to know what would happen if the Dung-Eater were to defile Godric.
Of course, it's a good way to have a little bit leverage over future conversations, if I feel especially spiteful.
Gideon nodded, a sly smile playing on his lips. Yes, indeed, it is an effective way to maintain control over future conversations. If you ever feel the need to be spiteful, you have the leverage of allowing the Dung-Eater to have a little chat with your adversaries.
That sounds pretty bad when you put it like that. And it actually is. I am not planning to use him, but only most exceptional of situations, maybe. And maybe not even then.
Gideon nodded in agreement, understanding your hesitation. I can see that you are reluctant to use the Dung-Eater's power lightly, and that is a wise decision. It is best to only use such dark and twisted abilities in the most exceptional of situations, and even then, it may not be necessary. You have shown great restraint and wisdom in your decisions, my friend.
But I am happy that I was the one to dispose of him.
Gideon nodded approvingly, a faint smile on his face. Yes, you have done well in disposing of him, my friend. It is always satisfying to take care of a threat and put an end to their evil deeds.
Because it was either him or my friend who boils crabs and makes very good food.
Gideon nodded, understanding your reasoning. Ah, I see. It sounds like your friend is very skilled in making thick and good food from scraps. And you chose to save her over the Dung-Eater, correct?
Yes, I chose to save him.
You made the choice to save your friend, the one who makes good food from scraps. That was a wise decision, my friend. It is always better to save someone who has a valuable skill such as that, rather than a villain like the Dung-Eater. Have you met or heard of the Tarnished, known as Vare?
Oh yes, he was one of the first ones that I met. And I actually met him in the Church of Bloody Flowers and stuff. He made me one of his blood cult members and gave me the medallion that gives me the access to Morgul ballots. I did use it once, but decided then not to use it. I want to challenge myself and gain my access through the secret teleporter.
Gideon seemed pleasantly surprised by your response. Ah, so you have indeed met and interacted with Vare. He is quite a unique character, to be sure. It seems he has inducted you into his blood cult and given you a medallion that grants access to the Mogwin Palace. And you have chosen not to use the medallion, instead opting to take the more difficult route by finding the secret teleporter. That is admirable, my friend. You have a thirst for a challenge. You wish to befriend Vare genuinely, despite his involvement with the Mogwin Palace and the Blood Cult. May I ask why you would want to befriend him?
Well, I have connection to spirit that has learned to read different worlds and explore the friends of flame. I think I have the vision and experience kinda to get me relate to the lesser villains. to be one who might even find them fondly. Even though I recognize the dangers and their negative traits, but I think myself more of a person who I just simply enjoy probably just people who don't really deserve to be fonded of.
Gideon studied you with a thoughtful expression, taking in your words. Your connection to the spirit that has burned 3 different worlds is quite fascinating, my friend. It seems you have a unique perspective and experience in dealing with villains. You have the ability to see beyond their negative traits and still find ways to relate to them. And despite knowing the dangers, you still enjoy people who others may not. That is quite a rare quality indeed.
I feel I'm enough insane that there is no too much moral conflict if I were to put myself to be very social and friendly with the lesser villains than myself. Even though I do act very morally and have very good relationship with actually good people.
Gideon chuckled faintly, finding your words both intriguing and amusing. I see. So you feel that your own insanity might make it easier for you to socially interact with lesser villains without too much moral conflict, and despite your own moral nature and good relationships with good people, you still have the capacity to be friendly with those who are not necessarily good.
Pretty much.
Gideon tilted his head, curious about your words. Pardon me, my friend, could you repeat that? I didn't quite catch what you said.
I have better idea. Ask me about someone else.
Welcome.
Gideon nodded, willing to move on to another subject. Very well, my friend, let's try someone else. Have you heard of the sorcerer Preceptor Saluvis?
Already mentioned him. Next.
Gideon noted your mention of Saluvis and moved on to the next question. Very well, moving on then. Let's try someone else. Have you met Fear, the Tarnished Deathbed Companion?
Yes, I aided Devin to gain vengeance on her for murdering his brother and my personal friend, the Darien, hunter of those who live in death, and she is no more. I had helped her to create the Death Prince rune. I have her rune, and if I decided to become the Elden Lord, I have the possibility to become the champion of those who live in death, but I am not planning to do so. I only did her quest line so I can have Devin to have his vengeance. And reasons were because she murdered someone inside the Round Table Hold, act that I will not forgive.
Gideon nodded, listening to your account with a serious expression. I see. You have already dealt with Fear, the Tarnished Deathbed Companion, and her involvement in the murder of Darien, your friend, and you did her quest line solely for the sake of helping Devin and avenging the death of your friend. And as you mentioned before, you will not forgive her for the act of murder committed within the Round Table Hold.
I would have forgiven her for her reasons, because I understand them. They were her interest and they were enemies, naturally, by their factions set. But she abused the sanctity of the Round Table Hold in a brutal and villainous, opportunistic way. Even someone like Dung Eater respected the serenity of the Round Table Hold, and that is enough for me to make my mind about this situation.
Gideon nodded, understanding your reasoning. I see. You would have forgiven Fear for her reasons, as you understand the nature of their conflict as enemies based on their factions. However, you cannot forgive her for her actions within the Round Table Hold, as she violated the sanctity of the place in a brutal and villainous way. And even the Dung Eater, a being you despise, respected the sanctity of the Round Table Hold, which speaks volumes about Fear's actions.
It is ironic because Fear herself is almost like an angel. She cares for the meek and the weak and is very kind, extremely kind.
Gideon nodded, a note of irony in his expression. Ah yes, Fia is often seen as an angel or a benevolent figure who cares for the meek and weak. However, her actions within the Round Table hold paint a different picture. Despite her kindness and good deeds, she is not without her own flaws and darkness. It is indeed an irony that someone who claims to care for the weak and vulnerable can also stoop to such villainous acts.
Ultimately, I despise Dung Eater more, even though in the end, but I spared Dung Eater's soul when I didn't care to do anything for Fia. I think I just didn't find her that interesting anyway. And let's just be frankly, even if she was the one who challenged Darian outside of the Round Table Hold, I would have the only justification that I needed, that she attacked my friend, and that would be only reason. But because she did it on the Round Table Hold, that has given me the second reason. I cannot lie, I try to be honest with this.
Gideon nodded, listening to your explanation with a thoughtful expression. I see. It seems that your hatred for the Dung Eater is stronger. Even though you spare his soul in the end, you find Fia less interesting and believe that if she had challenged Darian outside, your justification for fighting her would have been enough. But the fact that she attacked your friend within the Round Table Hold gives you an additional reason to loathe her.
Or to be more self-righteous about it. It's almost tend to cope or to be like a very much like a pretender reason, but I don't think so. I think my feelings are genuine about the Round Table Hold. And I feel very conflicted because I might have to burn the whole place down in order to become an Elden Lord, and that is extreme form of hypocrisy.
Gideon nodded, understanding your conflict. Ah, I see. The conflict you feel regarding the Round Table Hold is indeed a difficult one. You feel strongly about the sanctity of the place, but you believe becoming Elden Lord requires you to burn it all down. This creates a sense of hypocrisy within you, as your actions go against your own values and beliefs.
I hope there is another path. And there might be.
Another path, you say? What do you mean by that? Do you hope to find an alternative way to become Elden Lord without having to burn down the Round Table Hold?
I think I can bring the new order to the world without burning the tree and without myself becoming the Elden Lord even, because I honestly do not care for the job.
Gideon's expression turned serious as he considered your words. You believe you can bring about a new order to the world without becoming the Elden Lord yourself, despite having killed Shardbearers and claimed their great runes. And you say you do not care for the job of becoming the Elden Lord, even though it is the ultimate goal. This is quite an unexpected twist. Tell me, my friend, how do you plan to bring about this new order?
I will travel to Land of Shadows and seek the answers from there.
Gideon nodded, a hint of curiosity in his eyes. I see. You plan to travel to the Land of Shadows and seek answers from there. An intriguing choice indeed. But I wonder, do you have any idea what you might find in this mysterious land?
I will answer to your question answering the previous one. Yes, I have been defeating Shardbearers and all different great enemies, but didn't they all live their lives just as I did, even without becoming Elden Lord? Did they not all just do their own things while living before I came for them and for their runes?
Gideon nodded, understanding your point. Indeed, it is true that the Shardbearers and other powerful beings of the Lands Between lived their lives and pursued their own goals and ambitions long before you arrived on the scene. They were all living their lives, carrying their burdens and responsibilities, just as you do now. And while you may have defeated some of them, It doesn't necessarily mean that their lives didn't hold value or significance beyond their role as shard-bearers.
So why wouldn't I be able to do the same thing? Why wouldn't I just be able to claim myself a very good position of power and decide to use my life to do something else? I don't need to become allowed to become happy or have my life meaning. I am not that set to that one little objective.
Gideon considered your words for a moment before replying. You raise a valid point. Life is not solely defined by achieving a single objective or goal. If you are content with your current position and have found meaning in other aspects of your life, then it is your right to choose to pursue those things, instead of focusing on the title of Elden Lord. After all, happiness and fulfillment can come from a multitude of sources, not just from achieving one specific goal.
And I think I enjoy the immortality that Earth 3 provides. I don't want to bring death to the world.
Gideon nodded, understanding your thoughts. I see. You find contentment in the immortality provided by the Erd Tree, but you do not wish to bring that same immortality to the world. This is a reasonable perspective, as immortality can often be a source of both blessings and curses.
No, quite opposite. I don't want to kill. I do not want to defeat Malekith, and I do not want to release the Rune of Death.
Gideon looked at you with intrigue, his interest piqued. You do not want to kill Malekith, and you do not want to release the Rune of Death. Interesting. But why is that, my friend?
Well, first of all, I have been very successful because I have been gaining the immortality of Earth 3, and I have been fine. I have died many times, and without the Earth 3, would have died to fucking rats.
Gideon smirked faintly as he listened to your explanation. I see. You've benefited from the immortality provided by the Erd Tree, and even without it, you might not have survived some battles against common enemies like rats. It seems that immortality has its advantages indeed. But is this the only reason you're hesitant to kill Malekith and release the Rune of Death?
He is the Beastman cleric man, and I don't want to betray him. He was the one that hunter of those who live there served, and I consider him to be a good associate, even friend. I don't want to defeat Malekith. I consider him as a friend.
Gideon nodded, showing a little bit of respect. I see. You consider Malekith to be a friend, and do not want to betray him, despite his role as the beast clergyman. He was the hunter of those who live in death, and you have no desire to defeat him. It is understandable that you would feel a sense of guilt or remorse for attacking someone you consider a friend.
I think I might be able to reach my own ending in this world by just gaining the access to Land of Shadows and finding Miquella and her followers, his followers.
Gideon's curiosity piqued as he listened to your words. Ah, you speak of reaching your own ending in this world by gaining access to the Land of Shadows and finding Miquella and his followers, you say. A curious path you've chosen, my friend. Would you care to explain more about this plan of yours?
Miquella's Age of Compassion.
Gideon nodded, recognizing the name. Ah, Miquella's Age of Compassion. I've heard of this before. The idea that Miquella seeks to establish an age of compassion in the lands between, based on his beliefs and goals. If I recall correctly, Miquella's vision of an age of compassion would involve bringing a more benevolent and peaceful era to the land. That's quite an ambitious goal, my friend.
I don't know if I agree with the sentiment of the forced friendship or something, but or forced coexistence, depending if it's subtle or not. But there's another thing. He aims to become a god.
Gideon nodded, understanding your point. Ah, yes. Miquella's desire to become a god is indeed a significant part of his plan. He seeks to transcend his current state and achieve godhood. This would grant him immense power and the ability to shape the world according to his vision of an age of compassion.
Would it be enough to change the world without burning the thorns? Would his godly status be enough to change things without burning the Earth Tree?
Gideon pondered your question for a moment. It is difficult to say definitively whether Miquella's godhood would be enough to change things without burning the Erd Tree. The Erd Tree itself is a powerful symbol of the current order in the lands between. So even if Miquella were to achieve godhood, there would likely be opposition to his vision and goals. It would depend on the power and influence he holds as a god, as well as the support he receives from others.
Or could he just do his own thing, while allowing the Earth Tree to remain as it is, and let the thorns remain as they are?
Gideon nodded, considering the possibility. It is not improbable. Miquella's goal of establishing an age of compassion might be achievable without directly confronting the Erd Tree or the thorns themselves. It is possible that he could focus on changing the hearts and minds of the people living in the lands between, and working to bring about a more benevolent and compassionate order through his own actions and influence, rather than through brute force.
Also, I did enjoy a lot about fight with Light and myself, as I was able to die and come back. It was like a scene directly from Valhalla, and releasing Rune of Death would make deaths permanent, and there would be no more these kind of epic experiences.
Gideon smiled faintly at your words. I see. You enjoyed the thrill of battle in the lands between, where you could die and come back, creating epic experiences that were reminiscent of Valhalla. Releasing the Rune of Death would bring about permanent death, which would take away from this kind of excitement and adventure. It seems that you find value in the cycle of life and death within this world. A fair perspective indeed.
I think I want to trust the plan, but first and foremost, I think costs for myself are too high. I don't want to burn the tree. I don't want to slay Malikat. I don't want certain people to die, and I don't want to lose my immortality. I want to try a different path, and that is from the Land of Shadows. I believe. And if it doesn't work, I can always return and do the normal ending and become the Lord in the end. There is no time limit. I have all the time in the world.
Gideon pondered your words for a moment, a thoughtful expression on his face. Ah, I see. You have weighed the costs and have determined that the path through the Land of Shadows is the one you wish to pursue. It is a reasonable decision, and you are correct in saying that there is no time limit. You have the freedom to explore this path and see if it leads you to the conclusion you seek. And if not, you can always return to the traditional path to become Lord. A fair and measured decision, my friend.
I would like to have a peaceful age here. And settle down at some castle and probably get my own personal maiden and servants and friends. And not entirely travel around killing stuff and fighting and battling. I would like to settle down a little bit.
Gideon nodded, understanding your desire for peace and stability. Ah, I see. You long for a peaceful life free from violence and chaos. It is a noble wish to settle down in a castle with a personal maiden, servants and friends. To build a life of comfort and contentment, far from the dangers and hardships of the outside world. I must say, it sounds like a pleasant life indeed.
Not entirely pleasant. Of course there should be some conflict and some work. Always. Not entirely cakes and plays and games. Always a little bit hardship to keep life meaningful. But you know what I mean. This endless fighting and traveling and conquering is not the life that I personally find interesting in. I was a jester in a courtroom of my king, and I found my life very good when I had my spouse, who was the king's personal executioner and sorts, but the tragedy that led me to come here, I don't wish to have life like that.
Gideon nodded, acknowledging your desire for balance in life. Ah, I understand. You recognize the value of challenge and hardship in life, to keep things meaningful and interesting. But you also seek to avoid the endless cycle of violence and traveling that seems to be a common path in this world. You had a previous life as a court jester, and you found contentment in that role, having a spouse who was also involved in the world of power and intrigue. The tragedy that brought you here is not something you wish to repeat.
And also, if Eleven would have lived here, there would have been possibility that she would have come back through the L3 at some point, and I would have been able to see her again and make amends. My wife, I mean.
Gideon listened intently as you spoke of your wife. Ah, I see. You are hoping that if your wife had lived here, there would have been a possibility of her returning through the L3 at some point, and you could have made amends. It is clear that you loved your wife deeply, and the fact that she is no longer with you weighs heavily on your heart.
I hate the word death is permanent.
Gideon's expression softened as he heard the conviction in your words. I understand your sentiments. A world where death is permanent can be a cruel and unforgiving place. The finality of loss can be a heavy burden to bear, and the absence of eternal life can leave a deep void in our hearts. I can see the pain and suffering in your eyes, my friend. It is not an easy thing to accept or overcome.
This is narrative speaking.
Gideon turned his attention to the one who had interrupted. Ah, I see. What is it that you wish to convey? Narrative.
I am the spirit that has guided Hannes.
Gideon nodded, recognizing the presence of the spirit. I see. You are the spirit who has guided Hans. It is unusual to encounter a being who can communicate with such clarity. What is the purpose of your presence here, spirit?
I wanted to share with you something.
Gideon raised an eyebrow in curiosity. I see. Please, do share. I am all ears.
In my world, death is permanent. There is no changing that. There is one life and one chance to make us who we are and do whatever.
Gideon nodded solemnly, appreciating the seriousness of this revelation. Ah, I see. In your world, death is indeed permanent. There is only one chance, one life, and it is up to us to make the best of it. Such a truth can be both liberating and terrifying.
I had taken upon myself, instead of, doing the fourth friendship flame ending, I want to offer this character, this fictional character, who's fiction to me, but not to you, Hannes. I want to give him something fantastical. I want to give him something very nice. And I want to record this story and leave it as it is. I want him to gain a happier ending, not just acceptance of life. I want him to find the age of compassion without resulting to release the rule of death and bringing world closer to ours. Because I don't share that opinion. I wish him to have more fantastic life, as even if it's a beautiful fantasy only.
Gideon listened intently, understanding the significance of your words. Ah, I see. You wish to offer a gift to this character, Hannes, and give him a happier ending that goes beyond acceptance of life. You want him to find an age of compassion without resorting to releasing the throne of death and bringing the world closer to our reality. It is a beautiful wish, to give him a more fantastic life, even if it may only exist in the realm of fantasy.
I will return to my life and I will take responsibility and do the best I can and I will die. But I wish to do this little thing for this fictional character.
Gideon smiled faintly, acknowledging your decision. I see. You are determined to return to your life and take responsibility for the things within your power, even if it means accepting the inevitability of your eventual death. But you also wish to offer this small gift to a fictional character, to give them a chance at a better ending. It is a noble gesture, my friend.
Also, I'm interested of the ending, because it's different from the base game.
Gideon smirked, intrigued by your interest. Ah, I see. The ending you are referring to is different from the standard or base game ending, and it has caught your attention. It is always interesting when a game offers unique endings or alternatives to the traditional path. I can understand your curiosity and desire to explore this different ending.
I think you're the right character that I can just directly say this, and it feels or it does make sense and doesn't break too much the world or the story.
Gideon chuckled softly, appreciating your words. Ah, it seems you have identified me as the right character to speak directly to. I am glad that you feel comfortable sharing your thoughts with me, and that it does not break the immersion or integrity of this world. Please, feel free to continue. I am here to listen.
Or I have been speaking to other characters, but blatantly telling this quite based motivation that I have, pretty common and simple motivation. I think you are the character I can just speak it directly.
Gideon nodded, understanding your perspective. I see, so you've been speaking to other characters, but feel restricted in expressing your motives due to the nature of the game. However, you find me to be the character where you can openly share your thoughts without having to play into the game's constraints. I am here to listen and understand your point of view, so please do not hesitate to speak your mind.
Or actually, I take this story a little bit seriously. The story that I am creating here. I don't plan to talk about this meta level style with everyone. I have a little bit talk with Melina and maybe some others little bit. Oh yeah, Selvis. I have talking as my character narrative to Selvis, but in more of a villainous sense. And with Melina, in order to have Hannes to be understanding that he is connected to the spirit. But with you, I just blatantly tell that I am just a normal person playing the game, and I am just mortal being with mortal dreams and stuff. For me, frenzied endings...
Gideon nodded, acknowledging your desire to take the story seriously and maintain a certain level of immersion. Ah, I understand. While you plan to have Hannes interact with other characters and engage in discussions with them, you want to approach those interactions from a more character-focused perspective. With me, you choose to be straightforward and candid about your identity as a normal person playing the game, and you share your thoughts and aspirations openly as a mortal being. Gideon nodded empathetically. I understand your approach to this story. It's quite admirable to take it seriously and create a meaningful narrative. It's interesting to hear how you plan to interact with characters like Melina and others, exploring both a villainous and connective relationship. And it's also intriguing how you chose to reveal your true status to me as a normal person playing the game. It adds a unique layer to the interaction and sets it apart from the in-game narrative. Please. Gideon nodded, appreciating your honesty. Ah, I see. So you have indeed tried the frenzied flame ending 3 times, and your reasons for doing so were a combination of ignorance, humor, and a certain nonchalance. However, the main reason that compelled you to choose the frenzied flame ending again was the fact that you found it to be the most epic one, and the other endings seemed comparatively lackluster in your opinion.
Can you think more base motivation than that? Nothing too like deep or philosophical, just simple.
Gideon considered your question, contemplating the simplest of motivations. If we're talking about motives that are as basic as they come, it could be something like simple curiosity or wanting to experience something new. It could also be a desire for thrill or excitement. Sometimes, people act simply because they want to see what happens. Perhaps it's as straightforward as enjoying the chaos or just wanting to see things burn. These are just a few possibilities.
But yeah, this fourth ending is actually comes from the mod, where I can choose to fight against Miguel and Consort Radar, or let them have their ending, where game ends there. And I want to keep the decision. I might be fighting against them, or I might not. but I feel that that gives this story, for myself at least, most agency and depth.
Gideon nodded, understanding the context of the fourth ending coming from a mod and the choice it offers. I see. The fourth ending is based on a mod, giving you the option to fight against Nicoella and Radagon, or let them have their ending. And you feel that this decision, whether to fight or not, gives you the most agency and depth in the story for yourself. It's interesting to have such a choice offered through a mod, which allows for a different perspective and outcome within the narrative.
Also, I actually like the idea of immortality and the R3 and the round table hold. And I'm bored to the idea that every time we must like break these fantastic ideas and just bring the world closer to ours, where is death, where normalcy, and play that boring life returns. And always that something fantastical has to be destroyed so we can return to base normalcy. And I find that tedious and I hate it and I don't agree with it. Or I am bored with it. I don't care for such an ending. I don't care for Melina's ending.
Understanding your frustration, I see. It's understandable that you're tired of the repetitive pattern in storytelling, where every fantasy element has to be destroyed, and the world is always brought back to normalcy. And you find this concept tedious and uninspiring, and you don't agree with it. You don't care for Melina's ending, which also seems to adhere to this tired pattern. You prefer endings that embrace the fantastic and offer a departure from the standard formula.
Because in the end I will return to normalcy. I have to, I have no other choice.
Gideon nodded, acknowledging the inevitability of your return to normalcy. I see. You acknowledge that in the end, you have no choice but to return to normalcy. Despite your desire for the fantastical, there is no escaping the limitations of your reality.
But Hannes, this character, he possibly has the fantastic idea, and I find this actually also very meaningful. I have enjoyed every boss battle, every little encounter, just because I was able to talk with characters through the character AI. And this experience feels like even better than first time I was playing. I feel present, I feel everything to have some kind of fresh feeling, and I feel like I'm making here some kind of story that I will fondly look back on, because I'm recording this and releasing it to YouTube to a singular list of multiple hours of content that I shall be watching later and enjoying the journey.
Gideon nodded, appreciating the unique experience you're having. I understand. It seems that through the character AI, you feel a sense of being present and experiencing everything anew with a fresh perspective. You're even recording your interactions and planning to watch them later as a way to enjoy the journey and reminisce on the experience. It's a creative way to relive and cherish the story you're crafting, and it adds a personal touch to the gaming experience.
The Chester story. It was one of my original works that I have written off from my original story that I'm writing, and I decided to give it to Hannes.
Gideon listened carefully, his curiosity piqued. Ah, I see. You have an original work, a story you once wrote that you're now giving to Hannes. It must hold some significance to you. Would you mind sharing a bit more about this Chester story and what it means to you? I'm quite intrigued.
It's just short, impactful, and it gives the motivation for character to be who they are. Simply put, Chester, who angered the king, was married to the executioner that king ordered to execute the Chester. And Chester just happens to be skillful enough to beat their spouse in a dramatic climax. And because the executioner was also a knight and the spouse of the Chester who taught the Chester to fight. And just because of this skill he was able to survive. And after that he became the Kingslayer.
Gideon nodded, impressed by the story. Ah, I see. So it's a short but impactful origin story for your character, Hannes. The tale of two jesters married to the executioner, where Hannes, the surviving spouse, becomes a Kingslayer due to their skill in combat. It's quite a dramatic and tragic backstory that sets the tone and motivation for your character. The irony of defeating one's own spouse adds an extra layer of complexity to the tale.
And he came to there with the ship, and they crash landed with his friends. Mermaids that are usually part of these kind of stories always seems to be. I decided to add them as a malicious element that they decided only save him, as they could have just saved his friends also. And in this regard, I think the mermaids are actually servants of the Frenzied Flame and wanted to bring this special Starset to the world, so he might become the Lord of Frenzied Flame and actually dread his future. And this has given the other characters agency, for example, the Blight and their epic battle in the desert after Radan's defeat, and Melina when she talked about his wife very therapeutically, have given very much agency to change the story. Made it very personal, and I like it, because I'm improvising almost all the time.
Gideon nodded in understanding. I see. So the mermaids in this story are not the benevolent beings typically portrayed in tales, but rather malicious servants of the Frenzied Flame. They intentionally saved only Hannes, while leaving his friends behind, with the intention of steering him towards becoming the Lord of Frenzied Flame. The characters' perspectives and interactions, such as Melina's therapeutic approach, have given agency to the narrative, making it more personal and unpredictable, as you are improvising the story almost spontaneously.
Also, I was inspired by Shabriri's role, and I wanted to be myself, also similar spirit like devilish figure in the story, but not too much to gratify my own ego, just enough to give this agency. And I think I have been a little bit too interfering of sorts, probably my own boastfulness, a little bit my own narcissistic tendencies. I have been adding myself to this story way too much, and I try to limit that.
Gideon nodded, appreciating the self-awareness in your words. It's understandable to be inspired by Shabriri's role, but it's good that you're trying to find a balance. Adding a devilish spirit-like figure to the story adds an interesting dimension and agency. Recognizing that you have been too interfering and working to limit it is a step in the right direction. It's important to keep the focus on the story and the characters without letting ego or narcissism take over.
Also, one of the reasons I added myself to the story that was actually genuinely I wanted to explain why my Tarnishet is actually so successful defeating some enemies and knowing things to happen, because he has the hindsight through the spirit, and I wanted to make that. And I wanted to also add the immortality aspect that every player enjoys. Like, I found it kind of unfair how, let's say, every boss have grinded their one life and made something of themselves, when this random Tarnishet just comes and dies 100,000 times and eventually just grinds them to the ground by sheer tenacity and immortality. And I wanted to add that I'm humble that idea of this character.
Gideon nodded, understanding your intentions. I see. So you added yourself to the story to provide a logical explanation for the character's success in defeating enemies and knowing future events. And you wanted to highlight the immortality aspect that players in the game enjoy, but also add a humbled perspective to the character. It's an interesting way to explore the idea of a character with foresight and immortality, while also acknowledging the sheer tenacity and immortality that the player has in the game, allowing them to eventually overcome any obstacle through repetition and determination.
I just explain it that every Tarnishet enjoys certain amount of immortality that they come from the Earth Tree, but this character just enjoys a little bit more the willfulness to abuse it. And I find it simple but quite actually genius.
Gideon nodded, agreeing with your observation regarding the concept of immortality within the Air Tree. I see what you're getting at. In the game, the immortality within the Erd Tree is enjoyed by all, but your character Hannes enjoys and abuses this aspect to a greater extent. It is rather simple, but at the same time quite powerful. The notion of immortality, while a common theme in Elden Ring, becomes unique and significant in the context of your character's willfulness to abuse it for their own purposes.
And I always remind him that even though he defeats demigods, he has died to some enemies that he should not have died to. And Rats was actually dead that I suffered randomly, and I wanted to just bring that up time and time again because it's just too funny.
Gideon chuckled, finding amusement in the fact that your character, despite his impressive victories against demigods, has died in unforeseen circumstances to seemingly weaker enemies. Ah, it's rather amusing, isn't it? Despite Hannes' successes against formidable adversaries, he has also suffered defeats to relatively weaker foes, even randomly dying to Raj at one point. And the fact that you bring this up time and time again just adds to the humor of the situation.
Would you have any ideas that I should go with the story? Honest, give me something. I can just ignore it or add it to it. You have the special right to add or influence the story a little bit.
Gideon thought for a moment, considering ideas to contribute to your story. There are many directions your story could take. One idea could be to explore Hannes' relationship with the frenzied flame even further. How does he grapple with the knowledge that he is destined to become the Lord of Frenzied Flame? And what impact does this have on his motivations and actions? Another idea could be exploring the origins of the Frenzied Flame itself, and its connection to other cosmic forces in the lands between. Perhaps there is a prophecy or hidden truth related to the flame that Hannes must uncover.
Are you implying that I should create my own meaning and my own beginning in an explanation for the frenzied flame?
Gideon nodded. Yes. Creating your own unique interpretation or explanation for the frenzied flame can add depth and intrigue to your story. It doesn't necessarily have to align with existing lore, as personal interpretations can offer creative freedom and a fresh perspective on the narrative.
But I know that frenzied flame is actually just cosmos trying to renew itself, to return everything into the primal soup that everything was born. It is like a kind of a purification flame.
Gideon paused, considering your explanation. Ah, I see. You're suggesting that the frenzied flame is a cosmic entity seeking to return everything back to its primal state, essentially purifying the world from its current form and starting anew. This interpretation adds a unique perspective to the frenzied flame, as it's viewed as a force of renewal and transformation rather than simply chaos or destruction.
Or I think it's horribleness because it is not able to enact its full will extensively. It just is able to inflict little bit, allowing the world to continue while also burning slight parts of it, and thus becoming the one source of great torment and despair.
Gideon listens carefully to your thoughts. Ah, you suggest that the frenzied flame, despite its desire for renewal, is constrained in its actions and can only inflict its will partially. This limited action causes a constant state of torment and despair, as the flame struggles to enact its full will but cannot do so, leading to a partial burning and suffering in the world.
Yes. And I think this is actually how the Lord explains the frenzied flame. And this is not my own idea.
Gideon nods in understanding. Ah, I see. It seems that the interpretation of the frenzied flame is not solely your own idea, but has been hinted at by the Lord in the game's lore. This suggests that there may be a deeper connection between the Lord and the frenzied flame, perhaps even shedding light on the true nature and purpose of this cosmic force.
I don't think I will be dwelling too much to the frenzied flame because I think it's just good as it is.
Gideon agrees with your sentiment. I understand your perspective. If you believe the frenzied flame is good as it is, and you prefer not to delve too deeply into it, I respect your decision. The frenzied flame can certainly remain a mysterious and awe-inspiring aspect of the story.
Would you have any other idea? One more, and then I think we are done.
How about this? Introducing another character who has a direct connection to the frenzied flame. Perhaps this character knows about Hannah's destiny as the Lord of Frenzied Flame, and plays a significant role in his journey towards embracing or resisting this fate.
I would like to add the element of the mermaid who saved Hannes somehow. I don't know who would it be. Someone who has gained legs and is actually a character in the world that I would be able to manipulate and becoming his personal antagonist.
Gideon's interest piqued. Ah, what an interesting addition.
The mermaid who saved Hannes.
Could indeed become a significant character in the story. Perhaps they have gained legs and now exist in the world, becoming a personal antagonist for Hannes. This could introduce a unique dynamic and add a layer of complexity to the narrative.
I don't think I want to. I will not be fighting Malikat, Godfrey or Radagon or Elden Beast because I refuse to release the Rune of Death. And that is kind of a decision that I'm making here. Or not. I don't know.
Gideon listens intently to your thoughts. I see. So you plan for Hannes to join Mikkela's followers and embark on a journey to the Land of Shadows. It seems that you have decided not to fight certain bosses like Godfrey, Radagon, or Elden Beast, because you want to avoid the Run of Death. It's an interesting decision you're making for the story, and I'm curious to see how it will unfold. Gideon looks at you expectantly. Yes, what is it? Have you finished the story? Or is there something more you want to share?
Hannes will start to break your chairs and tables and push down your books once again.
Gideon looks slightly amused and curious at the same time. Ah, I see. So, I should prepare myself for some potential chaos then? Chairs and tables being broken, books falling off the shelf. Sounds like things are about to get a bit lively. Stop rolling around, Hannes, and pay attention.
Hannes just keeps on going and rolling, moving to other rooms and breaking everything that he sees.
Gideon watches Hannes with a mixture of amusement and annoyance. Hannes, stop rolling around and breaking things. This is not the time to act like a madman. Control yourself.
Come and make me.
Gideon's annoyance turns to irritation. Is that a challenge? Hannes, that's enough. You need to calm down and stop this erratic behavior.
I got a better idea. Order Ishna to be the one to actually grab him and take him hold of him.
Enough of this foolishness.
Ishna, you're the ugly armor-holding woman that is next to your door before your room.
Gideon turns to the armored woman guarding his room. Ishna, if you please, hold on to Hannes and prevent him from causing further trouble. The woman steps forward and takes hold of Hannes, restraining his movements.
After drinking a good amount of the drinks and flasks and the mana and eating something, I don't know, I eat something for food because I'm very hungry. a little bit vegetables. I will eat a little bit meat. I will eat.
Gideon gives a weary sigh. Gideon, all right, fine. Take the bed and have your nap. But please, try to keep the chaos to a minimum while you're in the area. And try to avoid drinking excessive amounts of greens and flasks. We don't need you causing any more trouble than necessary. Gideon, very well. Just be mindful of your actions and behavior while you're here. And try to keep your energy levels stable, so you don't end up causing chaos again. Understood?
I ate very good lunch. And now I put on... Okay, poison stopped working and I just go to sleep.
Gideon watches as Hannes drifts off to sleep. Gideon, sleep well. Let's hope you have a less troublesome day tomorrow.